oversights, regulates, and make laws. If in court has issued an order and the individuals or group or institution concerned refuse, the voice of the Senate or the power of the Senate should go out there before we consider the report. So I'm appealing that we should add to the voice of the court that these people should refrain from doing what they are doing against the law. If we become lawless, then they too will not even operate. So the message should go out today, Mr. President, that they should obey the court order before we even consider the report, which is coming, and the highlights of the report is known. We are representing the people, and these companies, I want to repeat, Mr. President, it does not belong to them. It belongs to the people. It was never before. Then they shared it among themselves. They didn't even pay for it. It is on record. Then why should they come and be charging people anyhow, and the court will say, don't do this, and they will ignore the court? They are Nigerians.
Well, as at now,
representing Jigawa Southwest, as regards the motion brought about by Senator Eradwa and the contribution of Senator Abaribe, I want to update this Senate that NAC does not respect any court order. It is my branch of Manufacturers Association, CARO, that sued NAC and the DISCO, and the court issued an order that things should maintain the status quo and that nobody should be disconnected. But the DISCO went around disconnecting almost all the members of NAC except none, except those who paid them. So I see one reason why we should not rescue this nation by receiving this report, which is very comprehensive, because I was part of it. So I think we should not hesitate to go ahead in considering that report, because that will bring succor to our country and the industries in particular, because most of the industries will close down. We cannot afford to pay. Thank you.
Well, distinguished colleagues, what the distinguished Senator Khabib Mustafa has just informed us is that the restraining order was actually against the National or Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, but they did not obey the order. They went ahead to implement this despite the existing court order. There is no court order that restrains the Senate from discussing this issue, and therefore it's reinforcing our decision to take the report tomorrow and therefore take consequential resolutions on the matter. Any other thing?
Thank you, Mr. President. Distinguished Senator Mohammed.
There is no way that a level of charge or charges can be sustained, and they will not affect not just the healthcare system, will affect everything, even food stuff in the market and all that. And in view of the urgency of it and the fact that we are not restrained by any court order, I think the Senate should reconsider taking that report. Distinguished colleagues, is it the view of the Senate that to bring a holistic end to this matter, that the Committee on Powers report on this same issue be brought forward by the next legislative date? Those in support say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. So I thank you for this report, and Senator Abaribe, tomorrow you bring up that report for consideration by the Senate. Senate Leader
Abaribe, I represent Abia South. I want to thank my good friend Abdulaziz for bringing up this matter. But Mr. President, I would like the Senate to note that the Committee on Power looked into this matter and brought a report to this chamber. But on the day that the report was being laid, was laid and was being discussed, there was a matter that was brought up that the matter was in court, and therefore that we should take cognizance of it. In the opinion of the presiding officer that day, it was resolved that they should ask the legal department of the National Assembly for their advice before we could go on. And so that report, which comprehensively deals with this matter, was suspended and has remained suspended up till today. In fact, if you look at the second prayer, it also, goes to the heart of this issue. So I suggest, Mr. President, that if we could resume consideration of that report from the Committee on Power, that will take care of this problem and several other problems of this nature that has come up since the change in tariffs. I so submit. In the opinion for which the presiding officer said they will consult the legal department, and I'm sure
at the same time we have a rule, section 1B, which allows us to regulate
our own procedure. So, yes, and we pointed it out that. Yes, so I think if we finish this,
we thank you. Doesn't mean that while the matter is sub judice, that the NEC is already implementing the new electricity tariff. So what stops us from stepping into it? Because if we want to wait for the court might finish in 11 years.
I think, sir, that
from first court to the second court to Supreme Court, and before it comes back, and then the public would have really suffered a lot of irreversible jeopardy. So if the court does not really stop us from doing what we are doing, there is no restraining order.
There was actually no restraining order.
Yes.
And
so it's only an information that is before the Senate. We don't have a copy of the court order. And we must be, is it that, do you have the court order with you? Huh? Because we are discussing the court order now. If the court order were before us today, we would have made consequential directives. But the court order is not before us. Therefore, it is important that we take the report tomorrow. But if in the course of taking the report, somebody avails the Senate of the court order, it reinforces our position, and we will make consequential directives accordingly. Is it the view of the Senate that all discussions on this matter be abated until we take the report tomorrow? Those in favor say aye, and those against say nay. The ayes have it. The Senate has decided to take the report tomorrow without further discussion on this issue.
Of this esteemed Senate, the grave implications of the recent electricity subsidy removal policy enforced by the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, particularly in the health sector, which is causing undue strain on public health institutions, are likely to impact on the populace they serve. Reports that the recent April 2024 supplementary order issued by Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission initiated the phased withdrawal of electricity subsidies, leading to a significant increase in the cost of electricity per unit, particularly affecting Band A consumers, with the cost surging from 73.61 kilowatt hour to 225 per kilowatt hour. Notes that the Kano Electricity Distribution Company, in compliance with the said order, has notified the Federal Teaching Hospital, Katsina, with an increment of a bill from 12,337,801 naira 88 kobo to 59,337,801 287,190 naira 63 kobo, which is an alarming 380.15% increase. These exorbitant increases in electricity charges have placed an unjustifiable burden on our esteemed healthcare facilities, impeding their ability to provide essential medical services to our community. Notes that sources of revenue for teaching hospitals includes overhead capital appropriation, internally generated revenue, and revolving funds. While monthly overheads released for Federal Teaching Hospital in Katsina averages 22 million naira, the revolving funds generated by the hospital are mostly used for maintenance of medical equipment, supply of drugs, purchase of diesel, and maintenance of their plants. The revolving funds are also used for payment of accreditation of the hospital's postgraduate programs. Informed that based on the old electricity rate of 73.6 kilowatt hour, patients are charged 80,000 naira for CT scan, 125,000 for surgery, 75,000 naira for dialysis, 80,000 naira for cesarean section, and 30,000 naira for x-rays, just to mention a few. Concerned that the Chief Medical Director of Ahmadu Bello University Teaching Hospital, Kaduna State, Professor Ahmed Hamidu, on Monday, June 3rd, 2024, while addressing journalists, lamented the rise in the cost of electricity bills. In his words, Mr. President, he said, and I quote, "Due to the current increase in the energy tariff, last month alone we paid 25 million naira, but the latest bill brought to us was 75 million naira. We are deeply concerned and don't know where to get the money. Even if we use all the funds available in the hospital to pay for energy, it won't be enough. Disturbed that if the current rate of 225 naira per kilowatt hour is sustained, hospitals are likely to transfer the energy bill to patients to almost 3 times what they are currently paying. Reminds that public health institutions play a critical role in ensuring access to quality health care for all citizens, and subjecting them to exorbitant electricity tariffs threatens their operational viability, potentially leading to a collapse of essential healthcare services and further exacerbating the healthcare crisis in our nation. Emphasizes that this matter demands immediate national attention and action to prevent a healthcare system breakdown and safeguard the healthcare and well-being of our populace, especially in times of economic uncertainty, inflation, and reduced living standards. The Senate therefore resolves that the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission be employed to reverse the subsidy removal policy and exempt all federal teaching hospitals in Nigeria from the increased electricity tariffs by reinstating the previous rate of 76 naira 61 kobo per kilowatt hour. The respective Senate committees on health and power should liaise with the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission with a view to working out electricity bill concessions for public health institutions nationwide. The federal government, through Rural Electrification Agency, should prioritize more health institutions under the ongoing containerized solar hybrid systems to help reduce cost of electricity in public health institutions. I so move and I so submit, Mr. President.
Senator Oladere, yes, sir. Just give you a minute because the same Senator Lau. Yes, the same Senator. Senator Bill, please allow him to give information to the Senate in respect of the last discussion. Please.
Mr. President, my highly respected colleagues,